Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm Revel the No Shorty, and I'm breaking that rule again by reviewing another one that is not an issue 1, because it's a Detective Comics, and it's been quite some time since there's been a Detective Comics issue 1. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it's rare. In this case, it makes a lot of sense, though, because the last one I reviewed was somebody, Dan Waters in particular, taking over from Tom Taylor, who'd been doing Night for quite some time. This one is what Tom Taylor is doing now. Detective Comics taking over from Ram V. Those few little bits of information I should tell you that I didn't go into this one with quite as many high expectations. For a start, I've read a lot more Dan Waters that I've really vibed with, and I do think the coming in after Ram V is a hell of a punch. Like, no matter how many Eisner Awards you won, there's something about Ram V, I just think his writing is just superb. So I was a little bit like, right, okay, let's see how this one's going to go. Not to criticise Tom Taylor too much. I have read some stuff I've really enjoyed by him, but I've also read some stuff where I can kind of see the criticism to a certain degree of some people who say he writes for Instagram, and also, as much as I know his Injustice run was absolutely, like, everyone loved it, it was like one of the few times ever that a comic book adaptation of a video game has been successful enough to go for multiple years, I didn't really care enough to really read it, so I do apologise to Tom for that one. But I was happy to give it a go, because I like Detective Comics, and like I said, I've enjoyed some Tom Taylor stuff, so I was like, okay, let's give it a shot. When I first started flicking through there, before I really got into it, I thought the artwork was going to be an issue for me. It's kind of soft, it's got a very nice fine line to it, which is not really my cup of tea. It's good, but it was also going a bit more photorealistic, which I feel like comic books can do that to a certain degree, but refusing to engage with the fact that these are comic books and larger-than-life characters, I feel sometimes can be to its detriment. Certain things will work quite nicely. Tim Bradstreet, as an example, doing Punisher covers, absolutely brilliant. In this particular case, though, the more I was reading it, actually further and further into comic book, and actually engaged with it properly, I realised the artwork was doing something that coincided with the stories being told, and that is really important. Not just art for the sake of art, not just making those decisions because you think it might look cool on the page at the time, but in terms of how it actually adds to the narrative, becomes part of it, and actually drives it forward. In this case, the more human-looking, like, photorealistic kind of stuff paid off, because it is kind of a grounded story of Batman. And I don't mean grounded in the way I see a lot of online discourse at the moment, which is, why can't we have a Clayface and stuff like that in Batman? Why does it have to be grounded, street-level, gritty, criminal kind of stuff, like the Penguin TV show, which I love, by the way, it's absolutely amazing. I mean grounded in terms of, it's about the people who live in this world. It's about their decisions, what it means to live in a situation where you have a Batman and a Riddler and a Joker, and various other bad things going on, but you still have to get through the day. There's choices people make, ethical, moral, economic, all these things which come into it that mean you have to just be a person to survive. And having a more photorealistic style really, really helped at that. But then you get to the colouring, and the colouring, like, absolutely lifts it up to another level. And this feels more like it's somebody being like, yeah, this is still a Batman story. This is a story where a multi-billionaire trust fund kid whose parents died dresses up as a flying rodent and fights crime, one of which is a giant crocodile. I mean, yeah, the colouring has to be something more than that, and it is, it's special. There's a wonderful moment in the sewer where most of the lighting that I can see is an orange-yellowy kind of glow, but Batman's suit glows green. This is kind of weird and unusual, but it works. It makes it jump off the page in a way that Batman should be doing. But back to the grounded kind of thing, there is an awful lot of elements in here which I could get into, but one of the bigger ones is the fact that over the past few years, an awful lot of comic creators have been talking about Batman getting old and how he's going to deal with that. In comic himself, he says he's been tempted repeatedly to try things to fight this, but they've all just been temptations. Yes, he could replace himself with robots, but, you know, what happened with Failsafe on that one. He could use drugs, but we also what happened when he did the Venom storyline. But the idea of him not doing anything is kind of daft. Like, he's broken his leg before, and he's not being like, well, I guess I have to fight crime with a broken leg now. He'll go to doctors and get help. And if the idea of just an actual 100% above board medical treatment can help, then why not go for that? And it's like, yeah, okay, this feels like it's a much more realistic kind of version of a story in a world where he's friends with an alien and a god. But from an outside point of view, from somebody reading a comic book, you can kind of tell that this is not going to be the simple solution you think it is. For a start, it's a comic book story. We're all aware of narrative conventions. We also have an introduction of a person from his past, a brand new serial killer, and an interesting new take on the morals and ethics of what his father was doing before his father got murdered, and his mother as well. And I like these kind of grounded moral kind of things. It works quite nicely. but it means, yes, the ending is not going to be the same kind of ground thing, or at least I'm assuming it's not going to be this kind of ground thing, but we're going to get those stories on the way, and they're going to be well written, because Tom Taylor actually does a really good job in this one. I found myself really liking it. The pacing is fantastic. The dialogue is really good. I like the way the story beats are delivered. It feels like he's saying something up, but he's not hand-holding you through it. You're just being like, here's some interesting plot threads. Which ones would you think would be fun to go for along with? And I like that kind of writing. I enjoyed it considerably more than my skeptical mind thought I would, and I'm looking forward to reading the rest of it. That's it for me for now, but I've still got a whole bunch of stuff to review, so make sure you don't miss anything. Do the social media thing. Until I see you all again, look after each other, everyone. Stay safe. Bye!